So here we are in Hull for round 2 of the AquaX Championships, and the good news is the sun's out and the fans have flocked to see it. So Rich, you've had a long drive from Cardiff up here to Hull, but you're excited for the weekend?
Yeah, I am. It's been a long drive, and I'm looking forward to getting some racing done this weekend.
What's it like racing up here on the Humber? It's quite choppy waters out there.
It is, yeah, it's very deceiving. You look out and it looks really flat, but with all the tides and currents it can really sort of stir it up. So yeah, it's quite deceiving. I think you've got to be a bit careful.
It's not quite the same glamorous setting as Bournemouth with the sort of blue waters and white sands, but it's still quite iconic and it's a great place to come and race.
It is, yeah. It's my hometown. I was actually born in Hull as well, so I've got my family and supporters here as well, so it's always good for me.
Thinking ahead to the racing, what's it looking like this weekend?
Past experience here, it's not first year here, it was really bad. Last year wasn't, you know, it was fairly rough, choppy. So yeah, I expect probably the same really.
So lads, looking forward to the weekend up here in Hull?
Yeah, definitely. It's really good conditions today.
And Dunk, you especially, you went swimming last time out, I think, in Bournemouth?
Oh, I'm not going to forget that, am I? I don't think anybody's going to let me forget that. But yeah, that was
a rare moment, a rare moment. And just thinking about the team championship, you're now under the Birchall Marine banner with Nick Thompson and boys, so tell us about that.
Well, obviously last race I had a problem all three engine mounts snapped, did the drive shaft, did some bits and pieces, so it's all back running around now thanks to Birchall again. So yeah, all be well, have a strong weekend, see if we can finish all 3 races.
This is the course they'll be tackling on the River Humber. It's anti-clockwise in direction and 1.6 nautical miles in length. The River Humber looking relatively calm, but there is a strong current of over 8 knots, plus a change in tide. So the green flag drops on race 1 of the AquaX Championships in Hull. This will be the first of 3 half-hour-long plus 1-lap races. 46, Tim Batt takes the early lead with 200, Phil Pope tucked in behind, and Jim Goodchild on 51 taking the outside line to keep the speed up. Matt Shipley heads up the 200 class with 131, Steve Hockney leading 250. Duncan Johnston's currently lying in second in the 250s behind race leader Hockney, who he needs to pass if he's to keep alive his hopes of adding the 250 title to the 200 crown he won back in 2011. Phil Pope starts to close the gap on Goodchild, but the veteran racer hits trouble and quickly raises his arm to alert officials he has a problem. In the 200s, 83, Damien Evans is starting to reel in the leaders. We're on board with rookie 300 racer Nick Thompson as he tries to make a move on Chris Leach. Rob Higgs tries to hold off Steve Robinson, who's beginning to make his way through the field. And the 200 champion John Heath is out of the top 3. On board with Duncan Johnston as Steve Robinson makes up another place on the leaders. Phil Pope takes the win ahead of a charging Steve Robinson and Dave Huddleston. This is the picture regarding the final results, and it's a Yamaha which finishes ahead of a whole heap of Kawasaki machinery. In the 250s, it's victory for Richard Rowe ahead of Duncan Johnston, while Damien Evans is triumphant in the 200 class with Matt Shipley second.
So Phil, great result for you here in Hull yesterday. Tell us about it.
Conditions are not rough enough for me here, so the carries are normally good in this stuff. So yeah, a bit unexpected, but obviously I'm happy.
Look at the conditions today as we go ahead for 2 more races. What are you feeling and what are you thinking today?
bit the same really. It looks a bit flat, but again, the Yamaha was good yesterday, so I hope it can be today.
Chris, enjoying the racing this year? Because you're an old hand at this now.
Yeah, again now, I'm not keeping up with the 300s unfortunately, but no, it's doing alright. Ski's reliable this year, other than last year, as we had all them problems. So fingers crossed we can get up there with the big boys, I suppose.
So it's a new day and a new race with conditions slightly choppier. The wind has certainly picked up. The black and orange Yamaha of Phil Pope sitting on the inside closest to the start boats with a sea of green Kawasaki's to his right. Watch out for the deep of the whole aquarium building as it comes into view on Steve Hockney's onboard camera. It's Tim Batt who grabs the whole shot for the second time this weekend. Yesterday he failed to hold on to the lead and finished 5th, while Dave Huddleston is also off to a good start this time. Meanwhile, Phil Pope is already beginning to close the gap on leader Tim Batt. Yellow flags are out, so that means there's a hazard in the water and it's a downed rider, and more bad luck for Dave Huddleston as he goes for an early swim. Richard Rowe is enjoying another good start, and good to see Huddleston is back up and running again. This is Pope making a move on Batt for the lead. Sitting in second place in the 250 class is Duncan Johnston. At the flag, it's Phil Pope who takes the win, while Richard Rowe struggled with engine problems and dropped back to 4th. A second victory of the weekend for Phil Pope, with Richard Cable in second this time and Jim Goodchild third. It's Steve Hockney's turn to taste victory in 250, while in 200 it's a win for Damien Evans.
So Jack, good to see you again.
Yourself, good to see you.
Doing it all again, but I understand this year you're on a new ski.
I am indeed, yeah. A lot's changed in the year.
Yeah.
I've recently sold the old beast and got myself a new one. So this has got 300cc more than the old one. It's a lighter hull, which means it's going to be higher for the camera guys and everyone like that. So it should be good for you guys today.
Yeah, awesome. So come on then Jack, there's loads of carbon fibre, there's loads of aluminium on here, there's loads of pimp design. What's it going to set me back if I want to buy one of these?
Right, so sort of everything you've just said, all in, you're probably looking at about £35,000.
£35,000?
Probably about, yeah.
Boom, that's expensive.
The third and final race of the weekend, and it's Pope and Goodchild who are pushing hard as the green flag signals the start of the race. But it's Batt that takes the whole shot, with Robinson, Huddleston and Cable in hot pursuit. Conditions are rougher this time, with the riders struggling to keep the power down. Huddleston is already applying the pressure to Robinson, but gets pinched, which allows Richard Cable to power around the outside. Damien Evans was the early leader in 200. Watch 51 Jim Goodchild as he makes the pass on Robinson for 4th. Trouble though for local racer Adrian Wilson as he succumbs to mechanical woes. Meanwhile, Richard Cable is still pushing Dave Huddleston for 2nd as he laps 16-year-old Rory Collingbourne. That was Steve Hockney. And this is Rob Higgs. Once again, Phil Pope takes the lead as he goes in search of his hat-trick, while Richard Cable gets his breath back after a swim, which leaves him trailing the pack. Damien Evans on the 200 powering ahead of Lee Bertram, who's on a 300. Sometimes when conditions chop up, less horsepower is sometimes easier to handle. Rookie racer Rob Simpson gets it wrong on the last lap and throws away what would have been a third-place finish. It's another checkered flag for Pope, who makes it 3 in a row and extends his lead in the championship. This is how things look at the end of the third and final race, with Jim Goodchild taking his best result of the weekend, but he couldn't match the pace of Phil Pope. In 250 this time, it's Duncan Johnston who takes the win, while Damien Evans is number 1 once again in 200.
So Phil, huge congratulations. Tell us about this weekend.
Yeah, this was the one that I weren't looking forward to on the calendar, to be honest. I know a bit about the water, and I knew it chops up here, and I didn't think the Yamaha would outrun the Cowies here, but proved wrong, eh?
It's been a long time coming. My first win on the FZR. I was last season just trying to, if I could get podiums in amongst the Kawasaki's, I was happy. So I managed to do that in most of them. But this one is my first win, my first win outright, so I'm well chuffed with it.
It was a tough weekend, tough competition with the rest of the boys, and yeah, just dug deep and kept pushing on, and it paid off in the end.
So it's farewell to Hull. Next time out, they're in Cardiff.